You know, it's our natural instinct to try to understand how everything around us works. And throughout history, it's this curiosity that's allowed us to make the best use of our environment and become as technologically advanced as we have. There are, though, still plenty of mysteries and strange phenomena that defy explanation. From puzzling geological formations to mysterious archaeological sites, these places continue to puzzle scientists around the world. So for today's video, we're going to explore 15 mysterious places that scientists really can't explain. Number 15. Lake Maracaibo, Venezuela. Lake Maracaibo in Venezuela has long been relied upon by local communities for its water and fishing, of course, but there's a strange phenomenon that takes place there, and it's done for hundreds of years. It's called Catatumbo lightning, and it's known as the everlasting storm. It's a place where it's actually more likely to have a thunderstorm each night than not. These storms can produce as many as 1 million lightning bolts per year and last for up to 10 hours a night for 140 to 160 nights a year. The lightning is usually visible for miles around and creates an almost otherworldly feel while it's taking place. To make things even stranger, despite the continual study, there still isn't agreement about why exactly this phenomenon takes place in the precise location. It's believed to be the result of a unique combination of factors that are specific to the Lake Maracaibo region, with warm and moist air from the Caribbean Sea colliding with the cool air descending from the Andes Mountains, along with the lake's topography. Whether this is enough to create the perfect conditions for the storms isn't fully clear though, and some researchers think it's also due with the oil reserves and the presence of other minerals beneath the lake itself. Regardless of the cause though, the Catatumbo lightning has become an important part of Venezuelan folklore and traditions, and it's even found its way into literature, art, and music. It has too saved countless lives over the years, as it's been so reliable throughout history that it was used by sailors and navigators as a natural lighthouse, guiding them safely through the treacherous waters of Lake Maracaibo and the nearby Gulf of Venezuela. Number 14. The Chocolate Hills, Philippines. The Chocolate Hills, located on the island of Bohol in the Philippines, create a stunning natural landscape, and with as many as 1,776 of them, have become one of the most famous landmarks in the country. They get their name from their appearance during the dry season when the grass covering the hills turns brown and begins to resemble a mound of chocolate. It is an incredible transformation that takes place, and one that attracts people from around the world. The origin of the Chocolate Hills, though, is subject of a scientific interest and a local legend, and scientifically there are still some missing pieces to the explanation of how they were formed. Geological studies have shown that they're the result of limestone weathering, erosion, and the uplift of coral deposits from an ancient seafloor, and over millions of years they've created these cone-shaped hills. Their precise shape, the large number of them, and why they aren't themselves eroding away isn't entirely clear, and it's still subject of investigation. There is, of course, an explanation beyond science, and there's a more romantic story from local folklore. Legend has it that a giant named Orojo fell in love with a mortal woman named Aloya. When she died, Orojo was heartbroken and couldn't stop crying, and it was his tears that formed the Chocolate Hills as they dried and solidified under the sun. The Chocolate Hills have become a popular tourist attraction in the Philippines, drawing visitors from far and wide. And now there's a viewing deck called the Chocolate Hills Complex that gives unparalleled panoramic views of the wonders. It's there that visitors can climb to the top and take in the breathtaking sight of the rolling, chocolate-colored hills that stretch into the distance as far as the eye can see. Number 13. The Zone of Silence, Mexico. There are a number of places around the world where strange electronic phenomena take place, but there's perhaps none as peculiar and legendary as the Mapimi Silent Zone in the state of Durango in Mexico. Also simply known as the Zone of Silence, or La Zona del Silencio in Spanish, it's a remote area of the Chihuahuan Desert of Mexico. Covering an area approximately 1,500 square miles or 3,800 square kilometers, it's sparsely populated, arid landscape that's covered with unique rock formations and desert flora and fauna. It's just as you'd expect from a stretch of desert, but what makes this one different is the number of accounts of electromagnetic disturbances and inexplicable occurrences over the years. Probably the most famous of the peculiar effects within the Zone of Silence is its ability to disrupt radio signals and communication equipment. Many have reported experiencing a complete loss of radio contact when traveling through the area, but no one's entirely sure why. Some theories have suggested these disruptions are the result of high levels of magnetic and mineral deposits in the region, but there have also been claims of paranormal or extraterrestrial activity too. Only adding to the more out-of-this-world solutions is that there have also been reports of strange, luminous objects in the sky over the region too, and while these events are far less common than the electrical interference, they too are yet to be satisfactorily explained. As such a remote region, there have been extended investigations into what's causing these strange events, but it's hoped that one day it could be a sign that it's geologically and environmentally a special place, and that one could become very important in the future when we fully understand it. Number 12. The Dancing Forest, Russia. Positioned on the Curonian Spit, which is a sandbank that reaches out into the Baltic Sea in Russia, there's an unusual formation that's baffled scientists and captured the imaginations of visitors. Known as the Dancing Forest, or Lesnoy Tanets in Russian, it's a large group of trees that have grown in strange and completely unexpected ways. They are all pine trees, which should normally grow tall and straight, but in this place they take on bizarre and often whimsical shapes. Their trunks can spiral like corkscrews, and their branches seem to contort in odd and almost surreal ways. Some appear as though they're bowing or dancing, and the forest floor is covered with their mysterious shadows, which create a hauntingly beautiful ambiance. This isn't the only forest in the world where trees are known to grow in peculiar ways, but most others have been simple to explain. In this dancing forest, though, the exact cause continues to elude researchers, but there are a few theories that have been put forward to explain it. The most popular is that these deformities have been caused by the strong and persistent coastal winds that sweep across the Curonian Spit, shaping the trees over time. The sandy soil and unique microclimate of the region may also play a role in how this interacts with trees, but this would normally be expected to cause each of the trees to grow in a similar way. Those in the dancing forest are different from one another, so there must be another factor that's influencing their behavior at work. Number 11. The Devil's Kettle, Minnesota. The Judge C.R. Magny State Park in Minnesota is a beautiful region of protected natural beauty, but while it's popular with locals for the hiking trails and camping, it's most famous for a large waterfall called the Devil's Kettle. Not just because it itself is a stunning feature, but because there's an enduring mystery surrounding the water that passes over it. It's on the Brule River that flows through the park, but just before it reaches the waterfall, around half of the water volume cascades into a deep, massive hole referred to as the kettle. The remaining half continues to flow over the waterfall and continue as a river beneath. The mystery then is what actually happens to the water that falls into the kettle. There have, over the years, been countless attempts to figure this out, including conducting dye tests, dropping GPS trackers into it, and even throwing objects like logs and ping pong balls into the kettle, with the hope that they'll re-emerge somewhere else. To their dismay, though, all of these objects vanish without a trace, something that's led to rumors and legends of a series of vast underground tunnel network and hidden caves. What makes things even stranger is that just a bit further down, the river flow significantly increases, which suggests that virtually all of the missing water does eventually return. But none of the objects, dyes, or trackers are known to have re-emerged, so it must be taking a convoluted route to get there, one that with current technology we're unable to fully chart or understand. Number 10. Al-Nazla, Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is home to some of the most pristine and stunning desert environments in the world. But while we now fully understand how most of these structures form, there's one place that continues to mystify. Around 31 miles or 50 kilometers to the south of the Tema Oasis is what's known as the Al-Nazla Rock, which, made of sandstone and around 20 feet high and 30 feet wide, stands perfectly upright despite weighing several tons. This would be unusual at the best of times, but to make things even stranger, the massive stone is split in two with such precision that it is nearly symmetrical gap down the center. The accuracy of this split has led some to suggest that it must be the result of human intervention or advanced ancient technology. But no definitive evidence of human involvement has been found, and the exact cause of this impressive formation remains a subject of debate. Geologists generally believe that Al-Nazla's unique split is the result of natural processes, primarily the stress-induced fracture of sandstone. Over millions of years, forces such as tectonic activity, erosion, and weathering have acted upon the sandstone, causing it to crack along its natural fault lines. The precise split is simply a fluke from the combination of unique properties of the rock and the slow, patient action of natural forces. Still, it's hard to believe that this is purely natural, and not everyone is convinced. Al Nasla has become a destination for explorers, geologists, and curious travelers wanting to see this firsthand, and it looks as if it could fall over at any moment, despite having remained upright for centuries. Being in a region that's so rich in history too, with archaeological sites that date back thousands of years, such as ancient rock carvings and inscriptions, it's also likely that the split stone played a role in ancient rituals or ceremonies, but this is also still to be proven. Number 9. Tabby's Star. Recent advances in technology have allowed us to look out to the stars in ways that have never been possible before. But the more we do so, the more we discover places in the universe that defy conventional understanding. One way that's used to determine whether there are planets orbiting distant stars is to measure the amount of light that's being emitted, and if there are moments when it dims, it could be a sign there's an object temporarily blocking it. Using this technique on our sun would see its light dim by a few percent when the largest planet, Jupiter, moves in front of it. But researchers have discovered a star where the light differential is far greater than this, raising the question of what could possibly be big enough to have such an effect. Tabby's Star, which is officially known as KIC 846-2852, is in the constellation Cygnus and around 1,400 light-years away from Earth. It was first observed as part of NASA's Kepler Space Telescope mission, which monitored thousands of stars in search of exoplanets by measuring their light curves or brightness variations. But while some stars exhibit slight dips in brightness caused by transiting planets, Tabby's Star showed dips of up to 20% or more, which is a significant change. The unusual and erratic nature of the dimming led to various theories and captured the imagination of scientists and the public. Some of the potential explanations for this dimming include massive comet swarms, asteroid belts, and even alien megastructures known as Dyson spheres, which could be constructed by advanced civilizations to harness a star's energy. The idea of alien megastructures, however exciting, was met with skepticism from the scientific community though, and astronomers and astrophysicists worked to try to understand the phenomenon. Further observations with ground-based telescopes have now led to the likely answer being that the dimming of Tabby's Star is most likely caused by a cloud of dust and debris, but still the exact origin and nature of this material remain uncertain. Number 8. The Richat Structure, Mauritania. The Richat Structure, which is often referred to as the Eye of the Sahara, is a huge geological formation that's deep within the remote desert of Mauritania in West Africa. When seen from above, the structure appears as a massive circular depression measuring around 25 miles or 40 kilometers in diameter. The formation consists of concentric rings of alternating sedimentary rock layers, with the innermost ring layer containing older rocks and the outer ring comprised of younger deposits. From the ground level, it's so large that it's almost impossible to even realize that you're within a structure at all, and the only clues you'll see are occasional shifts in color or types of rock. At first, this was assumed to be an impact crater from a meteorite that had struck the Earth from space, but scientists have proven that it is instead an example of a geological feature known as a dome or an anticline. The structure was therefore formed by the slow, uplifting movement of the Earth's crust over millions of years, which caused the rocks to bend and fold into this distinctive circular shape that we see. There is a problem with this explanation though, and that's the bullseye. The central depression has puzzled scientists and geologists for years, as it was originally thought to be the result of erosion, with the action of the wind and water gradually wearing away the rock layers. Recent research, though, has shown that this isn't enough to account for its shape and its size, and that the central eye may instead have formed as the result of volcanic and hydrothermal activity, followed by subsequent collapse and erosion. This is all yet to be proven though, so far more work is needed to fully understand what is arguably one of the most impressive natural formations on the planet, and one that's so otherworldly that it's been proposed as a potential site for testing Mars rovers, due to its resemblance to the Martian landscape. Moving on to number 7, the Sargasso Sea, Atlantic Ocean. There is much that we still have to learn about the oceans around the world, with research showing that while we once may have believed to be giant masses of swirling and mixing water, are actually distinctly separate formations with vastly different temperatures, salinity levels, and oxygen levels. As an example of one of these is the Sargasso Sea, a place that, despite being known about for centuries, is still somewhat of a mystery. Located in the North Atlantic Ocean, it's known for its cobalt blue waters and vast expanses of golden brown floating seaweed known as sargassum. Covering an estimated area of 1.4 million square miles, or over 4 million square kilometers, the Sargasso Sea is unlike typical seas and oceans in that it lacks any defined coastlines and is instead surrounded by four powerful ocean currents: the North Atlantic Current to the north, the Canary Current to the east, the North Equatorial Current to the south, and the Antilles Current to the west. These currents form a nearby stationary vortex known as the North Atlantic Subtropical Gyre, which traps floating debris and seaweed within its boundaries. The most visible feature of the sea is the sargassum seaweed, which forms dense floating mats on the sea's surface. These growths provide a vital habitat for a wide range of marine life, including fish, turtles, and various species of invertebrates, with the sargassum seaweed itself being adapted to this unique environment, with gas-filled bladders that help it stay buoyant. This sea is also known for its role as a breeding ground for several species of migratory marine animals, such as the Atlantic eel. European and American eels, all as a part of their life cycles, spawn in the Sargasso Sea, with their larvae drifting along ocean currents before eventually making their way back to the continental coastlines, and then returning to the sea once they've matured to repeat the process all over. With so much life within it, the Sargasso Sea is hugely important to the world's ecosystem, from oxygen production to the lives of countless species. But it's our lack of scientific understanding of it that's becoming a problem, because it's not exactly clear how it formed, how it continues to exist, or which structures are vital to its survival. It's making it more difficult to understand the impact that human activity is having on it, and how to further prevent damage. It, for example, contains the North Atlantic Garbage Patch and has troubling levels of plastic pollution within it, as well as being a place where plastic-eating microbes have been discovered. Further knowledge will help limit the buildup of this pollution, but could also, it's hoped, help develop ways to tackle similar issues elsewhere in the world. Number 6. The Voltovara Mountain, Russia. Deep within the remote Karelia region of Russia is the mysterious Voltovara Mountain. It's the highest point in the region, reaching 1,369 feet or 417 meters above sea level, and far away from everywhere, with the nearest settlement being 12.5 miles away to the northwest. But that hasn't stopped it from being known as one of the most mysterious places in the country. That's because this mountain is covered in a series of strange rock formations known as Voltovara stone mushrooms. They are large, mushroom-shaped rocks, some reaching up to 30 feet or 9 meters in height, and are balanced precariously on thin stems. It was originally assumed that these were man-made and had been created by various communities who lived in the regions hundreds or thousands of years ago, but recent research has begun to suggest that they're the result of natural processes, although the method by which this happens remains a mystery. The main theory is that they were formed by glacial activity during the last ice age, where as glaciers advanced and retreated, they exerted tremendous pressure on the underlying bedrock, causing it to fracture and erode. Over thousands of years, the softer rock around the fractures eroded away, leaving behind the mushroom-shaped structures. Another theory suggests that the rocks may have been shaped by more recent events, such as seismic activity or the influence of underground rivers. Local Karelian and Sami people, though, have long regarded the mountain as a sacred place and believe there's a spiritual significance to the stone mushrooms and the mountain itself. According to folklore, the stone mushrooms are the work of giants who once roamed the land, and they're said to have magical properties. Number 5. The Hessdalen Lights, Norway. There are plenty of places around the world where people report seeing strange lights in the sky, but often these sightings can't be proven in the first place, let alone what might be causing them. There is, though, a place where weird orbs definitely do occur, but even though they've been documented for decades, we're still no closer to understanding them. Known as the Hessdalen Lights because they're a phenomenon in the remote Hessdalen Valley in Norway. They manifest as glowing orbs or elongated flashes of light, hovering and darting about the night sky. It's the world's most significant and well-documented case of unexplained aerial phenomenon, and often linked with UFO sightings. The first confirmed sightings of the Hessdalen Lights dates back to the early 1980s, although some reports suggest they were seen as early as the 1930s. And rather than being an occasional event, they happen on a regular basis, with some witnesses reporting nightly occurrences. In response, scientists and researchers have developed a range of equipment to study them, including cameras, spectrographs, magnetometers, and radar. And even though they've been caught on camera, the exact nature and cause of these lights remains uncertain. Several suggestions have been put forward, such as they could be the result of ionized gas or plasma created by geological activity in the region. The valley does have large deposits of metallic minerals, which could potentially contribute to the generation of such phenomena, but this is yet to be proven for sure. Another possibility is that they're related to piezoelectricity, a phenomenon in which a mechanical stress generates an electric charge in certain minerals. The valley's geological characteristics and shifting bedrock could create the conditions needed to produce piezoelectric discharges. For now, though, without explanation, the area has become a popular site for UFO enthusiasts, and the tourist industry in the valley is thriving because of those wanting to see the lights for themselves. And even if the mystery is finally solved, it will likely remain as a destination for anyone interested in bizarre phenomena like this. Number 4. The Devil's Sea, Pacific Ocean. Now, everyone knows the legend of the Bermuda Triangle, where strange lights and events have supposedly affected ships and aircraft for centuries. And while the region has now been thoroughly studied and explanations have been put forward for why this might be the case, it's not the only place the world's oceans like this is linked with such mysterious events. There's another called the Devil's Sea, or the Dragon's Triangle, and it's in the Pacific Ocean between the Japanese coast, the island of Guam, and the Bonin Islands. Like the Bermuda Triangle, it's been the source of countless legends and stories, often involving the disappearance of ships and aircraft. One of the most famous stories in the area is that of the USS Cyclops, a massive United States Navy cargo ship that disappeared without a trace in 1918. The ship and its 309 crew members vanished without sending a distress signal, leaving behind one of the greatest maritime mysteries in history. To this date, the fate of the USS Cyclops remains unknown. As well as disappearances, there have been numerous reports of other strange things, such as unusual magnetic anomalies, erratic compass readings, electronic equipment malfunctions, and strange lights in the sky. These accounts have further fueled speculation about the existence of supernatural forces, underwater volcanoes, and even alien activity in the region. Scientific explanations of what's happening here are varied and often depend on the specific incidents being investigated. Some experts connect the ship and aircraft disappearances to the region's unpredictable weather, including sudden and violent storms, typhoons, and waterspouts, while the magnetic anomalies may be related to geological features such as underwater volcanoes or fault lines. In a further twist, the Devil's Sea sits quite close to the volcanic Mariana Trench, one of the deepest places on the planet, and it's known for its own mysteries, including uncharted underwater caves and geothermal vents. These factors, combined with the region's challenging weather conditions, could contribute to what's happening on the surface. Number 3. Saturn's hexagonal storm. As the second largest planet in our solar system, and the one with the most defined rings around it, Saturn is of great interest to researchers, particularly those wanting to understand how it formed and what it's actually like. The more we study it, the more unusual it seems to be, and there's something at its north pole that so far has completely stumped the world of science. First discovered by the Voyager spacecraft as it passed in the early 1980s, and subsequently seen by other craft in the following decades, there's what seems to be a persistent storm, and unusually, it's almost perfectly hexagonal in shape. At around 20,000 miles, or 32 kilometers in diameter, which is roughly 2.5 times the Earth's diameter, the shape is thought to be formed by the planet's powerful jet streams, where winds can reach speeds of up to 200 miles or 320 kph. These jet streams create a six-sided pattern that rotates synchronously with Saturn's interior, taking about 10 hours and 39 minutes to complete a full rotation. This, though, is just the leading theory and hasn't yet been proven, with another being that it's the result of interactions between Saturn's atmospheric layers and its rotation. As the planet rotates at different speeds, it creates a complex and stable wave pattern that results in the hexagonal shape. Another idea is that the storm's formation may be the result of the Coriolis effect, which is caused by the planet's rotation and the movement of the atmosphere. This can produce polygonal shapes in rotating fluids, and it might be responsible for the hexagonal pattern observed in the atmosphere. The Cassini-Huygens spacecraft, which orbited Saturn from 2004 to 2017, provided scientists with a wealth of data and images of this hexagonal storm, amongst many other things, and helped researchers gain a deeper understanding of Saturn's atmosphere and the dynamics of its weather. Many questions remain, though, including why the storm exhibits a range of colors in its cloud bands, from deep blue to gold and beige. There's clearly so much more to learn about our solar system itself while we continue to look further afield, and hopefully the next mission to the planet will finally help find some answers. Number 2. The Taos Hum, New Mexico. The town of Taos in New Mexico is like any other to most people that visit, but for some people there's a strange sound that echoes, which is known as the Taos hum, typically described as being a low-pitched sound resembling a distant diesel engine idling or the hum of a subwoofer. People who hear it often report feeling vibrations and a sense of unease. Strangely, not everyone can hear it, and those who do are often unable to pinpoint its source. Reports of this phenomenon date back to the early 1990s, when a group of residents in Taos began complaining about an incessant low-frequency noise, and over the years the phenomenon gained media attention and sparked curiosity. Various scientific and investigative techniques have been used to try to work out what it is, including noise measurements, acoustic studies, and even investigations by government agencies. But despite these efforts, no definitive source or explanation has been found. Several theories have been put forward to account for it, with some suggesting it may be the result of industrial machinery, mining operations, or military activities in the region. However, investigations have failed to link the phenomenon to any specific human-made source, leading to further investigations it could be related to natural processes such as seismic activity or the movement of underground fluids. There's also no certainty that the hum even exists, with psychological factors also being looked at in case it's a form of mass hysteria. But again, no proof can be found. The biggest problem is that for those that hear it, the hum can be seriously impactful on their lives, preventing them from being able to sleep or experiencing higher levels of stress. Until an answer is found, the best they can do is move elsewhere and completely avoid it. Number 1. The Nazca Lines, Peru. Ancient civilizations around the world were known to create huge geoglyphs in the landscape, but there's perhaps none as strange and mysterious as the Nazca Lines in Peru, made up of hundreds of intricate and colossal designs that range from simple geometric shapes to complex depictions of animals, plants, and humanoid figures. They cover an area of 174 square miles and were created by the Nazca people, who thrived in the region between 200 BCE and 600 CE. To make them, they removed the reddish-brown iron oxide-coated pebbles that covered the Nazca Desert to reveal the light-colored earth underneath, and have remained remarkably preserved for over 1,000 years due to the area's extremely dry and stable climate. Among the most famous Nazca Line figures are the hummingbird, the spider, the monkey, and the condor, and the largest of the geoglyphs, known as the astronaut or the spaceman, has sparked intrigue due to its resemblance to a figure in a spacesuit. Quite what the purpose of them, though, remains a debate among scholars, with some believing that the lines and figures had ceremonial, religious, or astronomical significance for the Nazca people. They may have served as a part of a ritual, irrigation system, or markers for underground water sources, while others suggest that they were used as an astronomical calendar or as a way to communicate with deities in the sky. What is particularly strange, though, is that they're undoubtedly best seen from the air, but people at the time they were made had no way to see them from this elevation,